everybody. I'm Bethelaine Haynes, and this is Claim Your Mastery TV. I'm so glad that we've sorted out. Thank you, Roberta. All of our technical difficulties tonight here on Claim Your Mastery, and we've both learnt something this evening. So for that, we will be always grateful.
Thank you.
It's lovely to be in the same place that we were in earlier this afternoon, Lisa.
Absolutely.
With clear communication.
Yes.
Clear communication. So, Lisa, there's so many people out there that don't know you, you know, and I only met you just recently, even though I'd seen you on Facebook and known of you, I guess, discreetly on another level, but actually to meet you face to face, to get to know you, and we've been in contact now since last month. Well, would it be longer than that? Time flies so fast.
14th of September.
So just 14th of September.
Yes.
So yeah, about 6 weeks now. We've been communicating, and Lisa's had a miraculous awakening to her, I guess, her innate ability, her as an amazing healer. And you're from Sydney, New South Wales, Lisa, is that correct?
That's correct, Beth.
Now that I've gathered myself, because it's quite stressful when things don't go smoothly, especially when we had a beautiful, smooth transition this afternoon. So for those people that are watching, it'd be wonderful if you could press the share button too, so we can get Lisa out to a wider audience. I'd really appreciate that. It'll be fabulous to get Claim Your Mastery TV and Lisa out to a wider audience. Now, Lisa, when did you first, I guess, what was the catalytic turning point for you now to be this amazingly passionate woman about, I guess, following your path as far as being a mediator and a mediator of healing in people's lives? We want the audience to get to know you better.
First, I'd like to say thank you very much for inviting me onto your show. I feel deeply privileged and wonderfully honoured to be here to share my story. My aim is to help as many people as I can. So thank you for this opportunity, Beth. I'm really grateful. So my journey began 21 years ago, where I had the awakening through actually MS warning signs. MS short for multiple sclerosis. And what actually happened to me was I was afflicted with multiple symptoms at one time. I had excruciating pain in my hands, in my arms, feet and legs, and that alternated with numbness and pins and needles, and it just came on like that. I'd had sicknesses in the past, but this was the worst I'd ever had, and I was always treated by a naturopath. And this was so debilitating that if I was out at the shops, I would actually have to leave my shopping and go and find a seat and sit down. I'd be crying with the pain. It was that bad in my feet. And, you know, I called my naturopath on the Saturday and she actually wasn't there. She was on leave. And because she was on leave, I was referred to another naturopath who I'd never seen before, who was an iridologist. And I called her and asked her, could I go and see her? And she said, come straight away. And I did. And she assessed me through my iris. She looked into my eyes, and for those that don't know anything about iridology, the iris of your eyes reflects the internal body, and when there's a problem, they see it as spots on the organ. And I actually had when the naturopath assessed me, my immune system had shut down, and the naturopath said every organ of my body had been affected. And she told me I was a very sick lady, and I said, well, I actually know that. I said, I feel really unwell. And I said, you know, my vision's disturbed. I said, I can't see very well. I can't think clearly. I said, I'm very tired all the time. My hair is falling out. You know, my appetite's not the same. I'm not sleeping at night. I've got night sweats. I had many, many symptoms. And she said that...
that's a person and a body that's under great duress, Lisa. That's a lot of stress on the body. For you to have all those symptoms, to have all those... I mean, were they acute symptoms at the time, or had they been chronic symptoms?
They were progressive, but not for a very long period. And then it became very acute to the point where the night sweats, where I was saturating my clothing and the bed through my sweating, and the pain was becoming more and more frequent, not intermittent, and it was affecting other parts of my body, not just my hands and feet and legs and arms and like that. And I actually thought I was actually going to have a stroke, and at other times I thought I was going to die. I was that sick. And the lady, when I kept asking her what is wrong with me, and she kept avoiding me and said, "You're just a very sick lady." And I said, "But am I going to have a stroke?" She says, "No." "Well, what is wrong with me?" And then at the very end, she said, "You actually have the warning signs to MS." And she said, "And you're to stop working." I was a nurse in those days, and I absolutely loved my career. It was my greatest joy of my life. I was happily married, and I had 2 lovely children, and I had everything actually. I had the dream life, and I mean the dream life. But what I did have associated with the dream life was a lot of stress from different areas of my life, which I didn't know how to cope with because I didn't have any knowledge about the esoteric, the metaphysical, or how to deal with stress. I just bottled. I imploded everything inside of me, which is something we shouldn't do, and I didn't know to release. I didn't have the skills of forgiveness that I have today, and I just didn't know very much in terms of, let us say, anything above the 5 senses. So I was not at all living a spiritual existence, although we are all spiritual beings having a spiritual experience in a human body. I did not make that connection, even though I was seeing spirits in my youth and throughout my life, but I shut it down because they actually frightened me. So
Lisa, I'll just interject there just for a moment. With the, I guess you were unaware, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. I'm attempting to communicate to people out there that you can exist and not know that you're spiritual, that you can have a human existence and not know that there's many, many more ethereal bodies and mental bodies and emotional bodies and in our auric field that have another dimension to our humanness. So what you're saying that you're very, very, very ill, and I guess at that stage you hadn't tapped into your ability as a healer. But was this woman brought you this information, and was it through your epiphany or an awakening, or during the journey of your then self-care that your transition started? I mean, to be that so ill. So how old would have you been then, if you don't mind me asking? We can just pick a generation. You don't have to give an age.
I don't mind revealing I was 38 at the time. I'm 59 now. I don't mind. Yeah. I don't mind revealing my age. I have nothing to hide.
Oh no, that's good. I don't neither.
So Beth Elaine, the lady actually gave me medication. She gave me herbs and medication and said she wanted me to stop working, not to build the home we were going to build. We had sold our home we were renting, and we were building another home even bigger than what we had, which was not what I wanted. It was my husband's dream, but I was going along with it because that's what you do, right? And then, yeah. And the third thing was she told me to rest, and she would see me in 1 month. So I did everything the lady guided me to do, everything, and I mean everything. And do you know what? When I went back for my following visit, 1 month later, I was worse. And ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't really impress this upon you all. I was actually worse. The numbness, pins and needles and pain had become exacerbated, and I had less energy. I was actually worse. And when the lady told me, I was devastated and mortified. And I said, "How can that be? I did everything you said." I said, "We're not even building now." And she said, "Well, I'll give you more medicines and come back in another month." Well, I left her office so absolutely devastated and mortified. I cried all the way home. I remember it. It was like I cried all the way home. When I arrived home, I'd stopped crying, walked over to the sink, threw the medications down the sink and put the herbs in the bin. And do you know what? I just looked up to the heavens and said, "I hate you, God, for what you've done to me." I blamed God, which was totally ignorant of me, because God didn't do it to me. I did it to myself, but we're very good at blaming other people for what is wrong with us. And I walked over to the lounge room and I sat there and I cried for quite a few hours, and then there were no tears left at that point, and I was sitting there, and this is where the epiphany happened. This is where my enlightenment happened, and my first connection, where I had real great awareness of my spirituality, took place. My eyes were closed, I'd stopped crying, and I saw the most brilliant emerald green in my mind. I saw the most beautiful royal purple intertwined, and do you know, then I was watching this beautiful scene in my mind, and then voices from the external, not inside of me, externally said, "You are very sick, Lisa, and you will heal. We will help you. Do not take any medicine." And I said, "Who is this?" And they said, "We are the angels." And I opened my eyes, and I was really freaking out, and I cannot tell you how much I was freaking out. I looked around me and I could not see anyone. I said, "I can't see you." They said, "It doesn't matter. Go to the cupboard over there." I went to a cupboard that they directed me to, where I had a folder. It was about this big, and it had "You Can Heal Your Life" by Louise Hay. There was 12 cassettes in there. My husband had purchased this at an I Can Do It seminar a few years before, and I had brought it with us and put it in the cupboard. It was not in storage in the garage. So the divine had orchestrated that because they knew I would need it. And I was guided to take out those cassettes and listen to them, and I would see why I was sick. And boy, did I see why I was sick, because I was riddled with negativity, anger, bitterness, resentment, unforgiveness, anxiety, fear. I had lots of negative emotions which I didn't even know were present. And when I started to do Louise's processes, I started to feel different. It started from inside here, and then it went into my feet, my hands, my legs, my arms, my hands. And what was happening was I felt healing taking place. I felt that the pins and needles were diminishing, because I did all 12 3 times. I just was like, it was an insatiable appetite to keep doing these tapes, because I was doing all the processes she had outlined. And I did so much forgiveness work, and I just felt so different in here, in my heart, in my soul, and in my body. Generally speaking, the night sweats eased off, and my appetite was better. The hair still kept falling out, but nevertheless, I just generally overall felt better. And you know what, from there, and my vision, I noticed my vision was very markedly improved, very markedly, because I couldn't even read an ampule at work. I couldn't read the writing on it. And then my vision went back to 20/20, perfect vision for many, many years after that. Many years. Now in my 50s, I wear glasses, but for another 15 years, I had perfect vision. It was restored. So I was shown the power of healing in here, but that wasn't the end. I was guided to go and do this workshop, this workshop. I did the journey, I did Louise Hay things, I did all these different workshops, and I got attuned with Reiki and Seishim a few years later. But 2 years from the time I discovered I was ill, for 2 full years, I did workshop after workshop. And that is how I healed. I took no medicine, ladies and gentlemen, and I mean no medicine whatsoever. What I did was I changed this. I changed my paradigms. Paradigms are a set of beliefs, not just one belief. And I forgave everybody, and I mean everybody, including myself. And I did lots of forgiveness work, and this is what I want to help you all with. This is my greatest passion in my life, helping people to understand that everything is about forgiving. If you are wanting deep soul healing, because the soul is seeking this. The soul is seeking you to forgive yourself for all the things that you think you have done that were inappropriate or incorrect or mistakes. There are no mistakes. Everything is perfection, and it's all been divinely guided, because the soul wants us to grow. And what we do is we misconstrue that as, you know, we've done the wrong thing. It's not about that. It's about having experiences so you learn, you grow, you heal from within, you transform energy, and you evolve. And I discovered this, and I felt every day my body healing more and more and more. I felt more clarity in my mind. I became very intuitive, because I made the connection to my inner self. And you know, I kept nursing, and it wasn't an easy path, because from there spirits started coming to me, and they would come to me in my bedroom at night, and I first felt them when they were leaning over me and they were breathing onto me, and I actually got quite frightened at the beginning, but then it became a lot less easier for me, because they would wake me up in the middle of the night. They'd switch my bedside light on, and they would say to me, "Lisa, we are from the spirit world and we are such and such. You don't know us, but we know your friends, because their relatives were my friends. And I have a letter for them that I would like you to transcribe, because I need to give them this information to help them. And I would get up, I would go downstairs and I would write this transcript. And the day after, I would call the person and ask, could I kindly come over and see you, because I have a message from your loved one. And I actually did.
Lisa, can I just stop you there?
Yes.
I just stop you there, just so people can understand. So you were still nursing at this stage?
Yes, I was.
And that you'd done, what, 2-3 years, or how many years had you been doing self-healing?
I had self-healed for 2 years. This happened after I had self-healed and I'd completely healed. So it didn't happen while I was healing.
So you were completely healed. So
yes.
Well, you'd healed yourself to to a level of awareness and a level of elevation and activation, to the fact that now you're a portal for this information for them to come through. So you're a clear conduit to spirit.
Yes.
So they were communicating through you to deliver message to loved ones.
Correct.
So, yeah, that's amazing. Do you still do that, or was that something that happened? Was that another stage of your evolution?
So I did that actually for a few years until, and I was actually invalidating Archangel Michael at this stage. I was working out of integrity, and I'm the first to say, because my teacher at college was the one that pointed this out to me. I ended up going to Nature Care College in 2002 to do my diploma of energetic healing, and in my first class, the teacher at the end, when I went over to speak to her and everyone had left, she said, there is a message here for you. Archangel Michael said, you are not working with integrity. And I said, excuse me. And she said, you are invalidating the angels whenever you write a transcript and you tell the person you give it to not to tell anyone. They said, it is your mission here. And I said, but everyone thinks I'm a freak. And she said, well, you better get used to it, because it's only going to become more so. And like she said, you need to go home and meditate, and Archangel Michael wants to have serious words with you. So I did. And I went home that night and he said, you have to stop this. And he said, you have to stop invalidating who you are and what you do, because this is why you are here. You are
so
here.
You had to claim it, my darling.
I did.
I did.
So that was very hard for me. I didn't do it. I still kept doing it and not telling people. But then it came to a point where they were bringing people very close to me, their relatives, and I couldn't any longer invalidate it. They even brought me through an Italian person, and I wrote Italian, which I do not do, and it was perfect Italian. It was a relative of my father's. My auntie had died and she came to me, and I wrote perfect 100% Italian, and I've never written it before in my life, and I couldn't do it. So I did that. And then from there, I got really annoyed because I wasn't getting much sleep, and I had to go to work the next day, because they had gone over and told all their friends, and they were all coming to me queuing up, and if I didn't get up, they just kept switching the lights on and off, and like they were really driving me quite bananas. And then what happened was, one night, one of my teachers called me and said, I've been guided to call you. And I said, oh, they're driving me mental. And I said, the spirit world is driving me absolutely mental. And she said, what do you mean? And I told her, and she said, Lisa, I'm getting asked by the divine, would you like to keep working with the spirit world and doing that work, or would you like to be a healer? And I said, I want to work with the divine and be a healer. And that is how my healing work started. So from there, the divine, the beautiful angels and archangels and all the glorious Jesus and all Mother Mary, all of those divine, beautiful souls said to me, it is time to leave your nursing career. And I said, no, I love that. And they said, you will love this work even more. And I said, well, how about I just do 1 day a week doing your work and I keep nursing it? And they said, okay. So I set up my home. I set up an area of my home to be a healer. It was just a single bed, and I had some crystals because I had done all these courses. I became a Reiki Seishi master. I did TFT. I learned crystal therapy. I was clearing with pendulums. I was doing all these wonderful things that I had learned externally and plus at college. And you know what? I booked one person in, and within 2 weeks, I was solidly booked that I had to leave my nursing career. Just from one person, because they went away and told their friends. So that is how my journey started. And ladies and gentlemen, I will say this to you now. From day one, I have seen miracle after miracle through the work that I do. And it's not me, I'm just a conduit, like Beth and I know this. We are here as conduits, we are vessels for the divine, for the recipient that we help, and we deliver information, we deliver healing, because when you are a healer, you do not heal. What you do is you facilitate the healing process in the people. We are just the vessel used. So although we see miracles, we are being used as vessels and vehicles for that. So I have the utmost pleasure in helping people, facilitating them to understand why they are ill. My work has clearly evolved over the years. It's very evolved now. Now I'm working at a soul level, whereas before I was just, the clients would come to me and I would channel the masters to them and tell them why they are ill, and then that stopped. Now I have to do it. They trained me how to do this because it's something that is inside of you, but I would not do it on my own. So I had to channel them.
I believe it's always been you, Lisa.
Oh, it has, totally.
It's just a transition. Just been a transition of belief. I've got a couple of things here that have just been, just a couple of interesting points that a few people have made. I hope you don't mind me sharing with you, just to get your perspective, if that's okay.
Certainly.
A beautiful Rachel Woolham is saying, I've been, because not everybody, and this is my personal message as well, and I'm sure that Lisa will agree with this, that, what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another. And it also may not be your time, because everything seems to happen in divine timing. Beautiful Rachel Wollenscott, I've been looking myself on Louise Hay, but nothing worked for me at all. So, and I've heard that from other people. I'm sure that you have too, Lisa.
Totally.
Where that particular person didn't happen to work for them, or the timing wasn't right. Any advice that you could give, Rachel, other than what I've said? I mean, I'm sure that you do.
So, Rachel, I will say this to you from my experience in the last 15 years that I have been doing this work. I believed everything is to do with timing. Absolutely, 100%. I know that to be true. So I know people that have meditated for 20 years and they have not made the inner connection. And yet I made it straight away like that because it was my path to do that. And what I have had explained to me from the divine is that when you are here on a specific mission, that things get activated in you and they expedite things, particularly if you're lacking and you are behind. I was 10 years behind when I connected. That was done purposely because I wasn't ready and they told me that. So I'm still behind now, and this is why things are getting expedited now. But some people will try and do things, and because it's not to do with their divine timing, they will not work. It doesn't mean there is something wrong with you. It just means it's to do with timing for you. And so don't berate yourself, and don't think that you're lesser than anyone else, because it's not about that. We are all one and we are all equal. It's just that some of us are here to do different work than other people, so we get activated from within with our spiritual acumen, our spiritual talents, gifts and abilities, because that is our path. And we made the agreement and the contract that when we came down here that we would do this work. So perhaps your path is something different to what you are thinking, and if you are wanting clarity, I will be offering an offer at the end of this session, and I will be able to give you more clarity at the end.
While we're touching on that, just so we'll touch on it again when you finish, but while we are speaking on the offer that you have, I'm more than welcome to share that with people now. We'll repeat it again at the end, Lisa.
Thank you.
So, Lisa, yeah.
So I'm passionate about helping people. I really am, and everyone's getting the awakening at the moment and have been for quite a few years. And my offer to your lovely audience, Beth, is that if anyone is seeking, let us say, guidance as to what they should be doing, or to be more, let us say, spiritually aware, I'm very happy to offer your viewers a 15-minute free consult with me. So that can be done via phone. We can have a chat for 15 minutes and I will give you insight and see whether I'm the right person to be able to help you with what you are seeking. Because from the time you connect with me, I will be able to give you a little bit more clarity. Of course, it won't be a full session, but it will certainly give you insight.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Janine Bracken who's saying that she has the same, a lot of visitations of an evening. And I myself have shared that we have to get up and make phone calls and all those sort of things. And I guess the other lady here, there's Caroline Walker. She's referring to the sweating day and night and all those sort of things. So that I don't know how you categorise that, but sometimes I wonder what I'm here for because I feel so scattered a lot of the time. That's from Karen Thompson. What would you suggest there? That sounds like a person who needs to be grounded, Lisa, maybe just a little bit.
So what I discovered when I was doing the healing work, what I learned from a naturopath actually. I was actually working with a naturopath, and she said to me, I was going through a little bit of sweating, and we're talking 15 years ago, and I said, I'm experiencing sweating but nothing major. And she said, you won't have very much of it because you have done growth. And she says, the more growth you do, the less you will sweat. She said, this is your body's way of expressing that something needs to be addressed. So when I went through my menopause, it was very, very brief. I know people that have gone through it all their lives, from the time they start till the time they die, and they have the sweating and the hot flushes. I had it for a very short time only. So what I'm saying to you is that this is your way, your body's way of awakening you that there is more to you, and that there is something that you need to connect to. It could be a mission that you're here to do. And yes, grounding is part of it 100%, but there's more to this, because your body's producing all that so that you start to question why. And unless you have that connection happening where you have that understanding, it will continue to be. So it's someone like Beth or myself that are able to give you that clarity, because when I do work with people, I work at a soul level now, and their higher self, their guides, their spirit guides, their angels, whoever is around them will give me the information to help that person to heal from within, and I facilitate that connection, and also to help you to become more connected to your inner self, because that's my role.
Yeah, true. I'd just like to share with people that are watching now in the future too, Lisa, that I've experienced healing from Lisa, and you can actually, you feel it. I'm here on the Gold Coast and Lisa's in Sydney, and we've done, so you don't need to be in presence with Lisa. Lisa can do work with you through Skype, through Zoom, through FaceTime, through the telephone. So that's something else. So no matter where you are in the world, we have the convenience of modern technology at our fingertips, where people can be with you energetically and give you and have the same effect as if they were sitting with you in the same room. So please know that you will feel the energy. You will feel the difference. There will be definitely, you will know that you're being healed. So just from my own personal experience, and also having had healing sessions from Lisa as part of us getting to know each other, it was nice to do energy exchange. So I've just got a couple of more ladies here. Caroline Walker's getting back. Caroline has been asking doctors, don't know. It's been happening for 4 or 5 years now. So Caroline, she really needs to listen to her I think she really needs to get in contact with you and have a chat. And also Janine Bracken saying autoimmune disorders give you massive night sweats. I never knew that. Lisa, you would know that.
Absolutely. MS is like it attacks the nervous system, and I had the night sweats. Yeah. And it's an autoimmune disorder is something to do with lots of growth being wanting to be done by the soul, and your whole body becomes affected, and it's something that definitely 100% can be from within addressed, and you can have a turnaround in your symptoms, because I know I did it and I took no medicine. This is why I'm passionate, absolutely passionate about helping people, because I know it can be done, because I actually experienced it. And I share I'm putting a course together at the moment for people, and this course touches on everything that I do every day to maintain my state of well-being. I haven't been to a doctor since I got sick. I have not been to a doctor, and I'm now 59 because I maintain my health through meditation. I maintain everything I do through my mind, and that is through doing growth. I go inside and find out what is causing this if an ailment occurs, and I quickly dissipate it. Pain is anger and guilt, and your soul, your inner beings create that because they want you to heal it and they want you to release what is happening. I'm an expert in this field because I've lived with pain up until I healed me. I lived in chronic pain because I had a back problem, and I'm telling you, I do know what I'm talking about because I heard it during my nursing career. And you know what I learned about pain and its existence, and whenever I get a twinge now, I ask my higher self, so why do I have this? What is the anger? I get told it, and I quickly do the growth that I get guided to do, and guess what? It goes just like that. You don't have to take...
Lisa, can I just ask,
Certainly.
is all pain associated with anger? Can pain be sorrow? Can pain be other emotions? It's not just anger. I don't know. I'm just asking you, do you find that, to me, I can't see that all pain would be associated with anger. It would have to be associated with maybe disappointment or loss or grief or what about an acute injury?
Okay.
Like an accident?
Okay, so, but underneath, when you start to drill down, you'll always find there's anger there. So even with sorrow and with frustration and with an accident, there's anger there that it happened. There's always going to be anger in all situations where there's... When you drill down, just think about it, because you know, people that are depressed, underneath the depression is sadness and anger. Anger seems to be in every equation.
And is also lack of love or your relationship with love in every situation as well?
Oh, absolutely. I work with that with people because unless you love you, and I mean really unconditionally love you, and you're all meant to, because we're here to love ourselves because we are perfection. It's just that all the experience cover us with this veneer, and we beat ourselves up and we judge ourselves, but we are not meant to do that. And underneath all this is this beautiful soul. And if you love you and love everything about you and embrace your shadow and disowned self and become whole and complete, you can then love others. But unless you learn to do that, it is difficult to love other people, and it's difficult to have others love you if you don't love yourself.
So very true. So very true. So, wow, it's been a long journey for you, Lisa. It's been obviously very rewarding because you're an absolute picture of gloriousness and health and radiance. So you are a product of your magnificent ability to self-heal. And I'll be really interested in knowing and hearing more about the course that you're going to be facilitating for people to be able to learn to do this. But is there a name for the modality that you use, Lisa? We've talked about the fact that you self-heal through meditation, that you self-heal through prayer, that you self-heal by talking to your body and diagnosing the anger that comes through. Is there a particular name that you call your modality?
Okay, so I am a Reiki master and actually a Seishin master too. However, I was attuned with the angelic frequencies. Their symbols are a bit different to the Reiki symbols. So I use angelic symbols working with the angelic realm, and I use a pendulum, and the pendulum is what clears, just like theta healing, when the person is facilitating that, they clear it through God, through the Creator. Well, I ask for whatever it is that needs to be cleared, and I've got a whole folder full of different clearings. And as I ask for it in my mind, the pendulum swivels so rapidly, and when it's cleared, it stops. This is while the client is laying down or obviously sitting up. They generally do feel this. It's really quite amazing because they feel the energy, because this is the feedback I get, because I ask them at the end. Yeah, well, and it's very real.
I did, and I was on the Gold Coast and you're in Sydney, yeah.
Well, I do people in all parts of the world. I facilitate their healings, and I ask them, and the 99% feel it. They say, I absolutely felt it. So because there are no boundaries with light work, so I clear a lot of things with the pendulum, whereas a lot of theta healers will do it through their mind, working on the person. So mine's just a little bit different, but
they do it in the theta brain state.
Yes,
actually.
and so because whilst the client is on my healing bed, I've noticed the majority do fall asleep, and even when they're overseas, the majority do. Some do not, and I'll be very clear about that. Some do not, but I'm finding the majority do drift off, or they drift in and out of consciousness, and it's the soul creating this. And it's showing them what is happening, and I get told this is showing them what is actually taking place. I know the transformation that happens, because at the end of it, when they awaken and they sit up, they say, oh my God, I feel so different. I feel lighter. I feel more peaceful. The transformation is amazing.
So, Lisa, is there any particular modality, or not so much modality, is there any particular affliction, mind, body, or spirit that you haven't been able to help?
I work on all aspects of a person's being. I have literally witnessed, and this is not an exaggeration, but I have literally witnessed on me lumps appear. This is, and my daughter is testimony to this. I've had lumps appear on my body, and they've been the size of a muscat grape on my abdomen, and I've gone into panic mode, I'll be honest, and I've said to the divine, I'm really scared because I can see it's not a good lump. And they said, well, you know what you have to do. And I do the growth. I spend all day doing growth, and the next day it is gone. I've seen that on me. I've also seen that on clients, and I've seen many of those. Why? Because it's their journey for that to take place, because they do the growth, they listen to what is guided to them, and they fulfill it, because the soul is just seeking for all of us to do the growth. The soul wants expansion of consciousness, and the soul wants healing. It does it through energy work or through us doing the growth. So when your soul sees you responding to what you are being guided to do, or you are receiving through meditation, you respond to the guidance your soul gives you, which is the growth, guess what? It will come in and do the magic, and it performs the impossible according to a lot of people. But I know the impossible is very, very possible, because I've seen it in myself more than once, many times, in fact. And that is, I'm telling you how it is, because I'm using myself as the example here, because so many occasions I'll give an example. I woke up one morning a few years ago and I had a sore throat, and this day I thought, well, you know what, I'm just going to leave it. And I'm not one for bronchitis, and I didn't do growth that day. And the next morning it had gone into my chest, and I thought, oh my goodness, I can't believe this. And I was told from my internal beings, well, if you had done the growth, this wouldn't have happened. So I learned from that, and I spent all day doing growth, and it was gone by the next day. But I actually had phlegm.
What do you mean by growth?
Oh, so growth is where...
When you say growth, you say,
okay,
you do growth. What do you mean by that?
So
if you can clarify that.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
I'm feeling that the growth is the healing.
Okay.
It is the talking to the body. It is,
Okay.
I guess, diagnosing where the anger is or what the issue is. So
All right.
obviously throat, it was talking, it was expressing. So just if you can
Certainly.
let people know what you mean by the growth, that would be great.
Absolutely. My growth that I go to is, and I live this and I breathe it, I practice it and I teach it. I love, out of all the growth I've ever done, I've done a lot of different modalities and different courses, webinars, seminars. My go-to for everything is this thing called radical forgiveness. Radical forgiveness is a spiritual technology where it's not traditional forgiveness. This is radical forgiveness, where you know everything is spiritually and divinely guided. There is no bad, there is no wrong. It is done for you and not to you. And it is created for the soul for your growth, and there's perfection in the imperfection. That is the concept of radical forgiveness, and I learnt it 15 years ago. I did the 3-day workshop with Colin Tipping, who came to Australia, and I decided then I wanted to be a facilitator of this, and the divine said, no, it's not your path, this is your path, doing what I do today. But my sister, she became a radical forgiveness coach because we had done this together with her partner. She has been my coach
Lovely.
for 15 years. And whenever anything...
Your sister?
My sister. And whenever anything
Oh,
happens,
wonderful.
yes, my sister Maria is my coach and has been for 15 years. And she's turned up at my home with pages of topics that I have had to do for the last 15 years. She would come and I'd say, what do you think I am? And I'd burst into tears because it takes me a long time to do it, because I had to do it organically from my soul. And she said, hey, listen, I've just woken up with this knowledge. That's what she would tell me, and I would do it systematically. So I've been doing this now for 1.5 decades, for 15 years. That is what I term as growth for me. And so every time something happens, it doesn't matter who it's to do with or what it's to do with, regardless of the situation, circumstance or event, I know categorically it is spiritually and divinely guided. It's being done for me and not to me, and it's all about the growth. And so I do a worksheet. I do a worksheet or a 7-step process or a 13-step process or a self-forgiveness worksheet or process, because I have the whole kit. Maria gave it to me one year for my birthday. It was $2,000, and I live and breathe it. My daughter lives and breathes this technology because it is my key. It is my golden key to the, let us say, the most peaceful existence you will ever have, because when you do the growth, your soul acknowledges that you are doing growth, and there's an energetic shift in you. The vibration changes because the inner beings that created the situation, circumstance or event, they become less and less and less active as you do growth and more growth. I've had to do lunar cycles on topics, and up to 7 lunar cycles where I'm talking 28 days on one topic. And then I'd complete, and the divine would say, you need to do it again, because it was past lives, energy bleeding through in me that were being recreated in this lifetime. So
timelines.
Totally, and I'm still, right at this moment, I'm in the middle of a lunar cycle on a topic that I've already done 7 times, but there's still energy that is surfacing from my subconscious mind, and I'm going to clear that to take me to the next level of my evolution. And the more growth I do, the more I can teach other people and facilitate them with their goodness, because everyone is goodness. It's just that you've had experiences and your goodness has been tarnished and has helped you to develop paradigms which are not really you. They're just beliefs that you need to collapse and reframe, and that's what radical forgiveness does. It helps reframe everything.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect, Lisa. That's amazing. I think that you just described exactly what you do beautifully. And I understood it implicitly, so I'm sure that our audience did as well. So I would like to, I think that if we would go any further this evening, we might take people over.
I think so too.
Our capacity to, over the capacity to, I guess there's a lot of information that you've shared that people will need to absorb. And most probably will watch this a few times, I think, to understand it. You've had a huge response for people that will want to get in touch with you and take you up on your, it's a 15-minute complimentary consultation.
Correct.
With Lisa, so you can see if she is the practitioner, the healer, the facilitator, the conduit of healing for you. And she'll be able to guide and direct you if she feels that that is so, because she's a woman who works with integrity and honesty and clarity. So you won't be left short knowing whether Lisa is the right practitioner and healer for you to facilitate change in your life. And I'm so very, very, your story is amazing. The fact that you were, your journey from your illness until now is miraculous. And you have written this, haven't you? You have a book about this.
I do. I have a book.
Yes.
I have not yet published it. I'm still actually waiting for the guidance for that, because everything is timing. I could have finished that and published that a year ago, but you know what? I still haven't been given the green light. So there's something that is going to be tweaked or added to that I have not. I think it's tweaked. I think you're right, because I keep asking, should I publish now? And I still haven't been given the green light. So it's like everything is definitely timing, Beth.
And in divine timing. Absolutely, Lisa. Because I think,
totally.
There's so many, and I've got quite a few, I know quite a few people that have neurological my sister, for one, she has, I forget what it's called. It's an autoimmune disease, and quite a few. I know so many women who have an autoimmune diseases, and actually, a friend of mine passed from MS. It's a very, very, very
Oh, it is.
cruel and insidious disease.
It is.
An autoimmune disease, which is a central nervous system, which is attached to everything, every organ,
Absolutely.
every hand, every physical part of our body. That's why we hurt so much.
Absolutely.
Those people that do suffer from autoimmune disease, which is what you started with, I guess.
Yes.
So to be able to speak to someone who understands exactly what it is that they are going through currently, you have the experience and the knowledge to be able, and also the miraculous experience of healing without medication, without, like you said, you haven't been to the doctor since you decided to take care of yourself,
Yes.
which is an absolute miracle in itself.
Yes.
So those of our viewers and now and in the future that want to contact you, they can contact you through this page, or they can go to where, Lisa? Where else would people be able to contact you?
So, Beth, I have a website, and the website is called Caring Energetic Healing. And
We'll put up a link to that later, Lisa. I'll put
yes,
up
I
a
will.
link.
Yes, and that has got my details, and I have written there what I do. There are testimonials from clients that have come and seen me. There are some videos also present, and if you log on to Facebook on my Caring Energetic Healing page, I actually write blogs. I do 2 a month. I put posts.
So that's called Caring
Energetic Healing. Yes.
Okay.
And I also have a personal page there as well, where I share information to help people, because my greatest passion in this life, and I've had it since I was 5 years of age, and I actually dreamt of being a nurse, and I followed my dream, and I actually became a nurse, and then worked as registered nurse for over 2 decades before I switched careers to this, my sacred contract. That was my platform, and to understand the medical establishment, to understand how humanity worked when they were sick, and I got to understand rapport with humans. That was the introduction for this to happen. It was my stepping stone to work with the divine.
Your apprenticeship.
Totally, and I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad, because I nursed, I nursed MS people, and they were in wheelchairs, and they were ladies, and these ladies couldn't even feed themselves, and I used to go to their homes and bath them, and their husbands would feed them. And when I was told I had the MS warning signs, the first thing I said, I am not going to end up in a wheelchair. My daughter was in kindergarten, year 1-ish, and my son was in year 6. And I said, my husband's good, but he's not me, and I want to raise my children the way I want to raise them. And that was my inspiration to heal, ladies and gentlemen. So we all have something that is our Achilles heel, and mine was my children at the time. And that was what started to make me explore outside of the medical model, because I wouldn't have gone down the medical model, because it was incurable anyway, and I was already under a naturopath.
Yes.
And we had done that because my son was sick with asthma. So whenever the naturopath saw him every month, she would always see my husband, myself, and my daughter. She always found me sick, always. And it was all stress related. I know that today. But see, now when something stresses me, within minutes I switch it over, because I know what to do, and I'm putting all this in my course. So if people follow your instincts and just naturally do what comes natural to you when you know what to do, everything changes for you, because you can stay a victim in any situation. You can live in victim land and keep living in the past, or you can make the conscious choice and live in the present moment, live life to the fullest right here and now. You can't change the past, but you are making this your destiny by what you do today. And you know what? The past is the past, the present is right here and now, and the future hasn't been written, and you write that by what you sow in the present moment.
Well, you've got some people here that want to ring you, they want to get in touch with you. So you've touched quite a few beautiful souls this evening, Lisa, and thank you so very much for joining me on Claim Your Mastery TV. It's an absolute pleasure to have you to go through the last month of our collaboration and growth together. So Yeah, truly amazing. Looking forward to having you again here on Claim Your Mastery TV. And I'm just going to ask once more if the audience would like to go to the share button and share this so we can get Lisa's story out to more people that need her amazing help and want to hear her story that will no doubt impact upon them, because so many people, unfortunately, live in pain.
Beth, I would like to say to you, it's you say it's a pleasure, but for me it's been an honour being here on your show, and I again thank you for inviting me. It's been a privilege to be able to share this with the viewers, and I'm hoping that people that hear this story that feel that I am able to help them will reach out, because I will gladly give them the console and guide them to what I believe is appropriate for them, because I will get it through their guides, through their angels, through their higher self, what they are meant to hear at that moment to help them, because I'm all about being of service and helping people. I'm all about bringing peace to people's lives and helping them to connect to the highest and best version of their life.
Excellent. Thank you so very much, Lisa.
Thank you, thank
So
you,
that was
thank
Lisa
you.
Ohtaras. My pleasure. Lisa Ohtaras here with Claim Your Mastery TV, and we look forward to seeing you back here next Monday evening, 7:30 p.m. Queensland time, 8:30 for our southern states. I will have Lisa's contact details. You can contact her through this page, but I'll also put up her other details on the page when we finish viewing this evening. Yeah, looking forward to Lisa being back on the show again soon. And as always, yeah, we seek many things in life, but this show's always about helping people understand that the master that you are seeking lives within. So thank you very much for joining us on Claim Your Mastery TV, and we look forward to being with you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you, Bethy Lane.
Bye, Lisa.
Good night. Bye.